What's up? It's me again. I'm back and I'm gonna rant and I don't know where my rant is going to take me, but today we are going to talk about the movie that I recently watched. It was called Fall 2022. I watched it because I saw a movie recap on YouTube and it was actually well done that I was like, "Oh, this movie must be great. I should watch it." And so I did. And I was so disappointed. I was like, "Oh my god, the movie recaps was better than this." I'm not really bashing this, but at the same time, I kind of am. I mean, there's a lot of things that this film has done well, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Sorry, I don't know how to talk. Anyway, so the film starts with three friends climbing a cliff. Like, what possibly could go wrong? Anyway, the newlywed Dan and Becky, together with her best friend Hunter, share a love for rock climbing. They are adrenaline junkies. They just want to go for great, energetic things. Everything was going well until Dan suddenly comes across a bird's nest, causing him to fall down to his death. And so, about a year after that, Becky is, depressed. She still hasn't moved on. She's turned to alcohol. She becomes addicted and she tries to push everyone away from her, including her father. It was really a very dark time in her life. And there was this moment during that time of her depression that she talked to her father. Her father's like, "Do you really think that Dan will be like this? You would still be drinking, would still be depressed if you were the one who was dead, you know? Do you think Dan cares the same for you as you do care for him, And Becky was like, "I love him," the usual script. It was so, I didn't like the dialogue there. It felt like it was something that was written, in a script and not an actual conversation between a drunk daughter and a dad. But I don't know. I've never been drunk and I don't have. But I guess I just don't find it realistic to talk like that to your father. It was too much emotions, too expressive, and I wasn't convinced of her acting, honestly. It feels, I don't know, I just don't like it. Okay, so anyway, Becky's father then invited her best friend Hunter to hopefully help Becky heal. Hunter arrives and she proposed to Becky that they should climb to the top of a 2,000-foot long TV tower, in order to conquer her fears. I mean, I think it's a low-key great idea, but then if your best friend is not drowning, but literally her best friend is going, crazy about the accident in regards to heights, I think it's best to just sort of be there for her, take things slow, talk it out a little bit, say, "Hey, how are you? But no, instead they go into what could have been a life-changing adventure. Yeah, Becky then brings Dan's ashes so she can spread it romantically on top, blah, blah, blah. Like a romantic gesture, except Dan's dad, which is still a romantic gesture. Anyway, the two then set out to this supposed to be life-changing adventure. Again, they stopped at a diner to eat. Becky then finds out that Hunter is now working as an online host. She has a vlog and she is crazy. That's why they're going to the 2,000 foot. It was like a self-serving reason too why she wanted to bring Becky. She wanted Becky to conquer her fears, but I think it's more of just, clickbait for the people, whatever. Outside the diner's window, they can see a really bright red dot on top. It's so on top of almost touching the clouds. Not really. I'm just exaggerating. I don't know any kind of words. But yeah, they see a red dot and the waiter said that, "Hey, that is the tower. You don't need a map. That is the tower." Anyway, Becky asks the waiter if she can charge her phone, but since the waiter said it's not free, Hunter teaches her a life hack. A lamp life hack on how to charge her phone through a lamp. Yeah, so they do that. Just remember, Hunter was like, you just put... Oh my god, my door is so creepy. It's like really, literally opening. Okay, anyway, in the morning, Becky wakes up from a nightmare. It was a memory of Dan. Oh my god, the wind is really scaring me. I sound like a crazy person. I'm not. Let me just close my door a little bit. The wind is blowing hard, you know. Anyway, Becky wakes up from the nightmare. The nightmare was like so gross. I mean, it's not gross. I just find blood gross, and I had like a traumatic experience with blood that I'm not going to say more about it because this isn't really a topic. Anyway, it was a memory of Dan and her in the sheets, and then suddenly there were blood and over that. It's a good thing that she woke up. So the two friends after that then drive towards the tower. Hunter records a video of them driving when suddenly a truck passes by, almost hitting their car, like just like that. Anyway, they don't stop. They drove a little more, and finally they arrived at the abandoned TV tower. On the foot of the tower, they can see this vultures eating an animal, which they probably should have, taken as a sign of death, and they should have said, Hunter, let's go back, let's just eat at the diner, and let's just go to a mall, or maybe, shop for clothes, whatever. But no, that's not what the movie is all about. This movie wants them to go to the tower. Okay. Yeah, Becky can be seen scared, but she is gathering all the strength she can. And Becky continues to ascend despite her intense fear, blah, blah, blah. Hunter is telling her some motivating things like, hey, Becky, let's go. Becky, come on. Whatever. And then, Hunter even goes to the extent of trying to like just shake the tower, which is a really bad move. Very dumb for Hunter. Because after she shaked the ladder, it was kind of crazy because some bolt just unscrewed and it fell down to the bottom. Like, I mean, come on, guys. They went on to a very rusty, very ancient, very old kind of tower, okay? It's very dumb. That's very dumb. And yet they call themselves experienced rock climbers. Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, they were rock climbers. They're not tower climbers in a way. But I guess it's just dumb also. I don't know why they could not tell anyone that, hey, we are climbing the tower. But then, I guess people will just say, hey, don't do that. And that's kind of illegal. You're trespassing. But, they are adrenaline junkies. Woohoo! So that's why. Let's see what's going to happen next. So they then go higher, and at this point, the wind can be seen blowing a little more intensely. It's more intense. I do like one thing about the movie, though. It's that they are so good at kind of imitating or like showing the audience that this is scary, that this is some scary suspense thingy. I think that's something they really do a great job at. Like, I mean, come on, man. The story itself, the plot, the characters, they're all a bit meh. But the suspense, the shaking of the whole tower makes me shake too. So they really do a good job at that. Plus the fear of heights. I don't fear heights. I'm good at heights. It's just that I'm getting scared too. There were so many moments of suspense here. I think one thing that they do the best at, and I think it works. I mean, this is probably the purpose of the movie. So whatever. Anyway, they finally arrive on top, and Hunter wasn't really satisfied, so she tries to hang over the edge, and she told Becky, hey Becky, take a video of me so that we can put this on a vlog. Like, come on, Hunter, you're like literally the usual typical YouTube vlogger, do it for the vlog, whatever. Anyway, she then She then tells Becky to do the same, and after some hesitation, she does it. And yeah, she was proud of herself. Becky was proud of herself. They celebrate a little. And then Becky then removes Dan's ashes and spreads them out into the wind. So that was the very grand romantic gesture. They then prepare to climb down. Becky takes the lead. However, this time things didn't seem to go as planned. The ancient ladder eventually collapses and Becky is left hanging. Oopsie! So luckily, Hunter got a hold of the pole and raised Becky back up with all of her strength. However, the ladder has been detached from the main pole and has fallen to the ground 2,000 feet below. Oh my god, I think this is a scary part of the movie. Just imagine yourself hanging. I mean, not hanging, they're not hanging. Sitting 2,000 feet above ground. Like, you can't scream for help. Nobody can hear you, man. It's just the two of you on top. What the hell can one do? So this is the movie. This is basically the core of the movie. Okay, let's do this. Let's talk more. Anyway, it doesn't take long for them to start realizing that the ladder has vanished, making it very impossible for them to descend. They attempt to check their phones, but there is obviously no signal. They also could have used Hunter's drone to ask for help, but her backpack containing the drone and some water fell on a satellite dish far from their reach. A small emergency box is then found at the pole's base, which contained a flare gun and some binoculars. This is cool. This is like a PUBG thing to do. Becky starts to fear even more when she notices that her thigh has a huge wound. Hunter tells her that the ladder is falling earlier and making loud smashing noises may have attracted some attention. But it's a desert, Hunter. Anyway, that's just Hunter trying to comfort her best friend and telling her that it's not such a bad idea, that they've, whatever, fuck you, Hunter. Becky settles down after hearing this and decides to wait. A few hours later, they see an RV, and at this point, Hunter has an idea. She pulls out her phone and she realizes that there was signal at the bottom. Yada, yada, yada. It's just another failed attempt at trying to be saved. It's not really, it's not really important. And then, they had another idea, which was to drop Hunter's shoe down to the ground, padding it with socks and a push-up bra. Unfortunately, this is just one of their failed attempts at being saved. But since Hunter had to remove her shoes, there is this tattoo on Hunter's feet. It was the number 143, which was a number quite familiar to Becky and Dan. However, Becky didn't ask too much about this as Hunter notices a man. Suspicious though. Okay, anyway, the man was on a phone call, which means he can't hear any shouts, especially from 2,000 feet away. So Becky, with all her strength, then decides to throw her shoes down, hoping the man will notice. But he doesn't notice. Hunter then instructs Becky to wait as she pulls out the flare gun, ping, and prepares to fire. So apparently there were people who had their RV, blah, 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 parked next to the tower. So they decided to just fire the flare until it was like around night to give them a better chance of being noticed. Blah, blah, blah. Becky passes time while they wait by browsing through her phone, staring at old video clips. In the video, she sees Hunter observing her and Dan with jealousy. Hunter then lets her know that it's time to fire the flare. So again, there was no really any confrontation yet. Fortunately, the two men in the RV see them and drive towards the tower where Hunter's car is currently parked. But instead of helping them, they just steal the car. I mean, these girls, man, they are so unlucky. That night, the two friends tried to sleep in the tower. Hunter almost falls to her death after, sleeping on the tower. But Becky held her in her hand, so it was okay. Becky then draws attention to the tattoo. Hunter was then forced to admit that yep, she was sleeping with Dan, Becky's husband. There's that, and then Becky realized that her father was right all along. Wow, what a great story, right? But anyway, we are not here for the story. We are here for the suspense of being 2,000 feet above ground. Suspended, no one can help you. You can't go down. It's scary. Okay, anyway. The morning tension between the two is just unsettling. This has been the first time in years that they've felt like this with each other. Hunter confesses that she did develop feelings for Dan, but she made the decision to quit the relationship just before they got married. Wow, Hunter, what a very selfless thing to do. A little while later, Becky's phone alarm goes off, signaling that it has been 24 hours since they dropped the shoe with a phone in it, meaning that they can't really be saved by Hunter's Instagram followers, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Hunter, in her attempt to be forgiven for all her mistakes, she attempts to just go below the satellite dish and get her backpack. She starts to descend, but she falls short from reaching the bag, so she detaches herself from the rope. She then leaps onto the dish to reach her backpack, but unfortunately the rope is now out of grasp. Blah, blah, blah. She does whatever. She pulls a selfie stick out of her bag before trying a risky leap back onto the rope. Hunter then climbs and nearly reaches the top, but then Hunter falls, and Becky starts to fear and cry like, oh my god, is she dead? She then bends over and was relieved to see Hunter still hanging on the rope. And unfortunately, Hunter's hands were wounded, and so Becky has to use all of her power. Yep. They then decide to write a note asking for help so that they can put it into their drone and send it to the diner. But plot twist, they are still fucked because the battery, the drone loses power, requiring them to return it back. Later on in the evening, Becky decides to just, have another idea, which is to charge the phone with Hunter's life lamp hack. And they were going to charge the drone to, they were going to charge, sorry, I had another idea, but they were going to charge the drone up at the red light, but they decided to do that in the morning because, it's more dangerous to do that at night. I mean, come on. So they do that, and out of nowhere, because they are such an unlucky bunch, a vulture eventually starts to attack her in this very, very vulnerable position. Fortunately, she manages to keep the drone secured by clinging tightly to the pole. Becky then slips back down after it has finally fully charged, and now they must wait for the restaurant to open before sending the drone inside. Unfortunately, Becky struggles to stay up, but Hunter tries to talk. They attach the note, and in a few minutes, they sent the drone flying. Unfortunately, they are again so unlucky that the drone was hit by a truck. I mean, come on, man. This is just shitloads of bad luck. I don't know why they're so unlucky. Okay, so Becky then had another idea. She asked Hunter for her other shoe so she can throw her phone down this time. But plot twist, Hunter actually is dead the whole time. It was then revealed that Hunter passed a while ago when she slipped after getting the backpack. In present time, vultures can be seen eating her lifeless body as it lies on top of the satellite dish below. Okay, so as Becky is finally confronted by this reality, she cries and cries until she recalls her father and she wanted to create a farewell letter. So now I think she has lost 99% of her hope, but she still has 1% left. So she typed the farewell letter through text, and so after that she jumped. She wakes up first to a hungry vulture pecking on her wounds, It was so gross, but she was like, she just killed the bird with all her remaining strength, and she eats the raw vulture. It happens. With this, she regains some hope and gets the bravery to descend towards Hunter's dead body. She goes there, and the vultures were like so scared of her that they just flew away. She texts her father immediately to let her know where she is. Then Becky tucked it into Hunter's sneaker. Becky then apologizes before inserting the shoe into Hunter's abdomen, I think. Then she went on to throw Hunter's body below, hopefully securing the phone with her. So I guess that became a successful attempt. Finally, I think Hunter is basically a lifesaver at this point. We then fast forward to Becky's father running towards the tower. The police and some medics were already there, and we can see that Becky has survived. That's it for this film. Goodbye. Oh, no, actually, it's not goodbye. I wanted to tell you my thoughts, but instead I told you like a summary of the movie. It's actually a great movie when you're just looking for suspense and not some real deep stories. I think it really does make me feel a bit tense, it does a great job at that. But however, it's the kind of movie that just gives you some sort of excitement and feeling, fleeting feeling. It's just not a movie that sticks with you, that fucks you up for a couple of days. It was a pretty straightforward movie, but I guess, yeah, it's cool. You should watch this. Especially if you're afraid of heights, this might heighten your this might heighten your fear of heights. Or this might help you. I don't know. Just go watch it. That's 22 minutes. Please subscribe. I'm poor.